the Virtual Ball Boys podcast. My name is Chris, and I am joined once again by my good friend, Matt.
So I found this eyeliner pen from Spirit Halloween that I used back in Halloween.
Yeah.
And I want to ask Chris, what should I draw on my forehead?
Oh, you're weaponizing me here.
Just know I won't be able to see it while I draw it.
Okay, so... So the go-to answer is like people are like, oh, draw a penis, because like that.
Yeah, no, you're more creative than that though.
Yeah, so draw a vagina.
All right.
All right. I don't know if you're started or not.
No,
but...
it's finished.
It's finished. Wow. Okay. Now, here's the thing, though. Is this something that we're posting on social media, or are we just gonna leave it to the imagination of what has been placed on your forehead?
I'll send you proof of what I just drew.
Okay. All right. While we wait on that, welcome everyone to the Virtual Ball Boys podcast. For a second, I was so confused, and I was like, I realized what you're going for there. I got it. Okay, yeah. All right. So I can confirm that he indeed pursued my mission at hand. So welcome everyone to this already fascinating edition of the Virtual Ball Boys. Last episode, I hope you guys checked it out. It was our 2020 review and chat of that great piece by John Boyce, so definitely check it out if you have read the piece. Of course, please don't spoil. Don't watch if it's already if you haven't read the piece, because you want to experience this shit.
Absolutely.
So definitely. And we're in the beginning of this month. We're nearing. Today we're creating our 6th VBBFL team for this season. And like we did last time, we'll stop after 8. And so we're getting closer. I think July will be our month of getting these teams assigned and drafted.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any ideas for that, if anyone at all wants to participate in that process, please add us at Virtual Ball Boys and tell us what you think we should do for this Virtual Ball Boys. Of course, we've already talked about the idea of drafting both video game characters and animated characters from television, or just
movies.
Do we still refer to it as TV shows if they're not necessarily?
Yeah, because it's still kind of the medium of TV.
Right.
They're made in the same vein.
Right, like even though it's not necessarily coming from like a cable box, or it's not like television programming like of the live sort, it's still like
you're still have watching episodes of things.
Right, okay. Yeah, so it's TV and, like you said, movies as well. So basically any animated character that doesn't have a direct connection with football can be drafted, and so we're looking forward to seeing what people draft thus far on that front. We have quite the slate of teams that we have set up thus far that I think I love each and every single one of them. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we do with that. I also have a question for Matt that I want to pose to him, and it will be a group discussion on this question, somewhat related, just a hint, at the upcoming Mario Golf game that's coming out later this month. But before that, we took a break from talking NFL stuff, all right? It's because what's going on in the NFL? They're just recreating the same storylines, trying to drive up those those ESPN headline boards, But at the end of the day, it's really not a lot going on. But you know what? We might as well just get the vibe of what's going on. I'm calling this the offseason vibe check, where we're just going to go through the biggest headlines of the NFL offseason. We may be forgetting a few here. I don't have like a ton written down. But we're just going to go through and kind of like give us like our overall feelings of the situations as they sit at the moment. And we're going to start with one that has been ramping up over the last few weeks. And that is Julio Jones, the wide receiver of the Atlanta Falcons, the future Hall of Famer, most likely. There's been this talk even before the draft where Falcons don't have a lot of cap space, that, we're kind of in a situation where they're going to need to cut loose some of their biggest players, and one of them being Julio Jones. I guess this talk is kind of like revolved around potentially Julio Jones being traded. Now, a few weeks ago, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, might have been even last week, Shannon Sharp, who is the co-host of Undisputed on Fox Sports 1, which is a terrible show, but decided to call Julio Jones on the air without, I'm guessing he warned him, called him on the air and was like, "Hey, Julio," and this is all me paraphrasing here, are you looking to get out of Atlanta? And Julio Jones basically just said, "Yeah, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not going back." And so we've known about this potential idea that Julio Jones is going to be gone and he's going to be going somewhere else. So, Matt, for you, what's your reaction to this, and what do you think is going to happen from here?
I think it's a great investment for Julio. The Falcons aren't necessarily in a bad position losing him. Thankfully, they've got Calvin Ridley there to be a number one target. They just drafted Kyle Pitts. They'll be in pretty good shape without Julio, and it's an unfortunate losing such a solid franchise player. Right, but I think that Julio will be able to now go to a team and help them kind of get to that next level. I think ideal landing spot for him, just like thinking about it holistically, would be a team like the Colts. Who don't necessarily have like a great number one wide receiver. I mean, T.Y. Hilton's there. T.Y. Hilton hasn't been great lately.
Valid. Yeah.
So adding someone like Julio to give Carson Wentz a chance would be, I think a good fit for both the player and the team, or something, or even like the Titans.
Yeah, Titans.
Who also don't have A.J. Brown is the number one receiver, but there's no one else on the team.
Right. No, I mean, A.J. Brown's been fantastic, and I think that he probably will remain the number one. But yeah, I do still think the Titans make a lot of sense for Julio Jones. I mean, he is, he's still a great player, and he doesn't, like, just because he might be like a wide receiver 2 on the Titans doesn't mean that he can't still be great with them. So I think that definitely works. I mean, he is that they are the favorite to land him right now, the Titans, but we don't know. Everyone has been asking around. Yeah, my general thoughts on this was, I guess I'm just getting like less and less surprised about any of these big stars being on the move. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if something happens and like next year Aaron Donald ends up being on the move or something. I don't know what the contract, like, I don't have like any insight into that. I don't know what like what's going on with the contracts or anything like that, like what would cause that to happen for the Rams. But I feel like there's always some sort of situation that will set up a team to decide to get rid of a really great player in order to set themselves up for a transition or for a change that could help them financially in the future. So not really, like, there wasn't a huge surprise when this ended up kind of coming to a head, but it is still fascinating though, because we only know Julio Jones as an Atlanta Falcon. Now, what I find interesting is that the asking price was a second-round pick, and they have since gotten trade offers, at least according to reports. I think Diana Rossini of ESPN and a few other reporters out there have been reporting that they've been getting first-round trade offers, which is for Atlanta
very significant.
Yeah, for Atlanta, that's like, okay, fuck yeah, let's do it. But they haven't pulled the trigger on it. The Patriots are the obvious one to go to because they trade, they've had that transaction with the Falcons before where they traded Mohamed Sanu to New England. That didn't work out well for them. For the Patriots, I should say. So that could happen. because they and we didn't really get a chance to touch on it on this podcast, but Julian Edelman's retired now, so that whole wide receiver room could use a revamp, to kind of set Mac Jones up for the future, or set at least help Cam Newton have like a decent second year there, if he's still going to be the starter. I like the Chargers too. I feel like I know like they have Keenan Allen, but I feel like it would be fun to see Keenan Allen and Julio Jones kind of like work in tandem in their own ways on that team. I think that'd be a great investment to have for Justin Herbert, to have like that additional really solid tall weapon. And then of course you have the Chiefs, which that would just be wild.
I don't know how that would happen.
It could happen. The Chiefs have this. Well, first of all, it's one of those things where it's, how could it happen? Like, why are our teams going to just keep on giving the Chiefs wide receivers to load up on? But I feel like the Chiefs are that's just how they function. They love having all the wide receivers. They don't have Sammy Watkins there anymore. So they have Tyreek Hill and I forget who's behind him.
Hardman.
Nico Harmon, like
Brian Pringle.
Yeah, like, but right. So like,
look, they're taking wide receivers like they take Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop, Chris.
Right, exactly. Well, but notice that like it took us a second. Like Tyreek Hill is like wide receiver 1, and Travis Kelce is.
Well, they got Kelce there,
and he's the tight end, right? But yeah, that's a similar situation we have down in Atlanta right now, where I guess like Kyle Pitts is more wide receiver, but he is a tight end in the sense he will end up being wide receiver too, but. I could see it where they do take Julio Jones again, but like with the Titans situation, have Julio Jones be a wide receiver 2 there. I don't know. It would be fascinating. Maybe Baltimore makes the move to further help Lamar Jackson. I mean, they did event. Those are the Ravens are the ones that got Watkins and got drafted Rashad Bateman from Minnesota. Like they've been investing in wide receiver this offseason, but they tend to do that and tend to fail, so why not get like a sure thing or hopefully a sure thing in Julio Jones? All right,
can I make a prediction?
Go, hit me with it.
Sammy Watkins is going to ball out week 1 in Baltimore, and the entire news cycle is going to be based around how Lamar finally has his number 1, and then do nothing the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Because that's just what Sammy Watkins does. He's
going to be like the human embodiment of the 2020 Jacksonville Jaguars. Where it's just gonna be like, oh my god, they just killed the Colts. They're dead, and like, oh my god, they're gonna be a better team than expected, and just never win again.
They did not win again.
they just stay completely stagnant. Yeah, it's a very fascinating conversation, but I think it's at this point it's more of a matter of when that trade's gonna take place than if. This is more of a sure thing than. I think then with the next story we'll talk about, which is what we have been talking about the past few weeks. We got Aaron Rodgers on the move, potentially. Aaron Rodgers wants out. He's currently spending his Hawaiian getaway with his lover, who I forget the name of, a famous actress of some sort. Forget.
I don't remember who she is. I do remember that he's also with Miles Teller, who's a good friend of his fiance.
Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. So he's got a collection of people that he's vibing with in the down Hawaii, and he's living his best life. And meanwhile, everyone's panicking up here, and like it's like the SpongeBob gif of all the little SpongeBobs tossing the papers around and not knowing what the fuck his name is, like. That it's kind of that situation up in Green Bay because they're just trying to figure out like, all right, are we gonna have Aaron Rodgers this year? Is he actually going to commit to holding out? The newest thing is in terms of the new developments at all in this is that Gutekunst consistently has come out and said we are not trading Aaron Rodgers. We're just not doing it, and so. It seems like the Packers are digging their heels in, even though it's kind of a panic situation. And it may not be that panicky for them in a sense, because like if they truly do believe in Jordan Love, then maybe it's
why
not...
the hell would you have drafted him?
Well,
if you don't feel like you can play him,
right. So yeah. Let's start there then. So right now with the where are you at with this whole Aaron Rodgers story? I know that as a Bears fan, you're enjoying this.
No. Listen, I'm trying not to get too invested because seeing him in a play for the Packers this fall, for which I think there's an 80% chance of happening.
Right.
I don't want to get too invested just so I don't get my hopes up of him not leaving Green Bay.
Right. Yeah.
So I feel like there's an 80% chance that he plays for the Packers again. That he either swallows his pride, which is very unlikely, or they do reach a deal. 10% chance that Aaron is adamant, and the team still doesn't trade him, so he just decides to retire. There's about a 10% chance of that, and then there's a 10% chance that I think he gets traded.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting him to play for the Packers this year, but who the fuck knows?
Yeah, no, like I do think that I think that there's some like when in the sports talk world that are like, well, we know how this is gonna end. Aaron Rodgers is gonna arrive to camp like a week before or a few days before the week 1 game and then be ready to go and everything's gonna just be hunky dory. I don't know if I see it that way. I do think that there's going to be some sort of major development that happens that either is the make or break situation. Just going back to Julio for a second, what if Packers trade for Julio Jones? That might be an incentive for Aaron Rodgers to come back and stick with the team, knowing that maybe like the general manager actually did something that Aaron Rodgers can appreciate. But for me, I'm like you were saying earlier about like why draft Jordan Love. That's what I'm still not understanding about this, because I do think that the Packers have egg on their face when it comes to that decision.
Oh yeah, you think?
Yeah, no, well, no, because it's just like, because I think that there's some people that are still out there that are like, well, at some point, like you just have to prepare. You always have to be prepared to, draft a new quarterback and be, whenever Aaron Rodgers is ready to move on, like he's in his twilight years, whatever. Like there's people that are still trying to argue in favor of the decision. But it's a terrible decision. At the end of the day, this was a terrible decision on their part. I don't understand why they made it, and now they are in this situation where they have pissed off their franchise quarterback, and that they're in this confusion. Like I feel for Jordan Love because he's like he's in this situation where like,
he's like, hey guys, I'm right here.
I
can do it.
Like if you are now in this circumstance where. I don't know, we don't know what we're going to do. We want Aaron Rodgers back with us, but we also want to give Jordan Love rest. Because at the end of the day, they have to start Jordan Love this year and at worst next year. Because at the end of the day, like, you have to know whether or not to pick up his 5th-year option because you dropped him the first fucking round, and that's how the first round draft, contracts work, is that they have this they have to have this there's a decision that has to be made by the end of April of the offseason where, okay, do we pick up the 5th-year option on this contract? And the only way to know how to make that decision is to see Jordan Love play in a regular season game. So you have to move on from Aaron Rodgers. Whether it's now or whether it's next offseason, you have to move on from him at some point. Now, I think that the Packers are digging their feet in and be like, we want Aaron Rodgers to be our quarterback. We want him to be here now. But if Aaron Rodgers isn't happy, get the investment on him, because if you're just gonna let him, I mean,
you could get so fucking much,
right?
For
he's
Aaron
the MVP.
Rodgers. You could trade him to Denver for 2 more first-round picks that you can waste.
I think it's even more than that, man. I think you got like 3 or 4 first-round picks.
Yeah,
like I think
they're gonna waste all of them, but they'll have them.
Right, exactly. Like you have this ability, like, and if you drafted Jordan Love with this belief, this surefire belief that Jordan Love is going to be your guy in the future, why are you still holding on to Rodgers then, where you can get that entire investment from the Packers or from the Broncos or whoever the fuck you trade him to? You could get so much draft capital to build this team around Jordan Love. If you trade Aaron Rodgers, and no, again, I hear people saying that like, well, they could do it next year and it would probably work out better for them. But if Aaron Rodgers is pissed off now, you're going to be forced to start Jordan Love anyway, and then like, what's going to happen if, like, all of a sudden Aaron Rodgers is off a year and then he decides to retire after the 2021 season, and then you didn't get anything from Aaron Rodgers? You lost your opportunity to trade him. You fucked yourselves. Like, God, I don't know.
This conversation is fucking wild and I love it. Fuck the Packers.
It's insane to me that they made the decision in the first place, and This was a team that should have always been drafting for now. I mean, I know that what happened in the 2019 NFC Championship game where they got completely blown up by the 49ers. Like, I understand that was not a good look for them. But you're still in the NFC Championship game, and you still have Aaron Rodgers. How about you build around the fucking guy, and you actually invest in him, and not in a quarterback that we don't even know if he's going to be good or not? It makes no sense at all. It still doesn't make any sense, and now they're in this fucking situation. Yeah, so the vibe check of it is, who the fuck knows? Next on the list, I figured we'd just fucking bring it up eventually. Tim Tebow's on the Jaguars.
Yeah.
So, what's your check on the Jaguars at the moment? And this kind of is going to be related to another offseason thing I was going to ask about.
It's weird. I don't know what Urban Meyer is doing.
Yeah,
that's my vibe check on the Jaguars.
Yeah, that's a vibe, right? Because here's like, well, first of all, the fact that they got Trevor Lawrence is a great thing. You know, that's going to help them, and you know, everyone's saying he is like the next coming of like Andrew Luck, where he's like a surefire success story in the making. So good for Jaguars, right? And like you have Shad Khan investing in Jacksonville, where he is trying to renovate the downtown Jacksonville area. They just announced like that they're doing all these different things to revitalize that area. Hopefully that doesn't include, kicking poor people out of the city, because that tends to happen when the rich people arrive in those places. But you know, there's this whole like rejuvenated feeling over this Jaguars organization. This like, oh, we're a brand new team. Urban Meyer, I'm gonna be cool enough to go on WWE and watch a guy use my laptop to break it over another guy's head, because that's actually a thing that happened like a few days ago. Like there's something about it that just feels so cocky for a team that was 1-15 last year. Yeah. This vibe of like, oh, we can do anything. We can invest in Tim Tebow, a guy who hasn't played in 5+ fucking years, and man.
And he's immediately going to be Taysom Hill, and everyone will love us.
Yeah, right. Like it's everything is just gonna come together. Like
there's not even like a guarantee Tim Tebow will make the team.
Right. Yeah, like no, it's so bizarre. And if Jacksonville's successful, they're successful and they're gonna be interesting, but my God, like it feels like they're like the story of the offseason, like that team and what they're doing, because they have the star-studded college coach with the evangelical, quarterback turned tight end, and the quarterback, the young rookie quarterback with the long flowing hair. It seems like a terrible soap opera in the making. But man, it's so wild, and it brings me to the overall question about what the fuck is the AFC South, because the Texans are something, right? They're like their own mess.
They've imploded.
They're in a complete disarray.
Yep.
You have the Titans, where they are now have to function without Arthur Smith as their offensive coordinator, and their defense is still not like that amazing.
They're a really top-heavy team, and that top-heavy is really good, but the lack of depth is concerning.
Yeah, and then you have the Colts who are taking this huge risk on starting Carson Wentz and hoping Wentz is going to be good, and that team, even though it has a lot of talent, is not as talented as the previous years, where you were hoping that Andrew Luck was going to be there, and then he retires out of the blue. Like, this division is so weird. Who do you think's the favorite right now? And
it's the Titans.
You're all in on the Titans still right now.
In this division, yeah. The Colts are very close, but I don't trust Wentz yet.
No, I don't either. No.
Yeah, I love the rest of the team around him, except for maybe his receivers. But Jonathan Taylor, going to be a stud. Yeah. Offensive line still great. Defense above average. It's going to be it's going to be a good team. I just don't know if I trust Wentz to be able to take them to that level yet.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think I would go Titans at the moment. Because there's obviously, like, to put Texans aside, there's no way. And then there's some people that think that Jacksonville could do it. And honestly, like, if the Titans have their shortcomings, Colts have their shortcomings, the Jaguars certainly have their shortcomings. I mean, you don't know what that defense is going to look like. You don't know how the offensive line is going to look. But that team could win the division. Would I be shocked? No, because it's the division is that strange right now.
Yeah.
But I think I'm with you. I think I agree. I think the Titans are going to do it. And then that turns to the NFC East real quick. I've been thinking about the NFC East a lot and how absolutely shit's weird in the NFC East. And it just remains that way because, like, there is this hype around the Cowboys again.
As there always is.
As there always is, right. That, like, all right, this is the year. They got their defensive player, Micah Parsons. They got Dak Prescott back. They got all their receiving weapons. They got their offensive line, some of their offensive line players back. Oh, this is it. This is the year. But then, like, I don't know. I think Fitzy's going to do it. I think Fitzpatrick's going to fucking win this division.
Yes, I want Ryan Fitzpatrick to lead the Washington football team to victory so goddamn bad because I want Fitzmagic to be in a Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
because he's never been in a Pro Bowl.
He should. Yeah, I feel like, and it's not even like I think that Fitzy himself is like Fitzmagic himself is going to carry this team.
No, this team is loaded.
It has loaded on defense.
I love this team. Loaded on defense. Antonio Gibson, Terry McLaurin, Ryan Fitzpatrick on offense.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a really solid team.
Yeah. I have a lot of faith in that in Washington to succeed this year because I think, like, again, like, and not to say that, like, if the pieces work for Cowboys, I mean, they do have the pieces to succeed. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, the pieces are there. It's just that they have that same vibe every single year where they go in with the expectations and fail them.
Do you remember how much the Cowboys scored at the start of last year with Dak?
Oh, insane! They were like in the 40s every year.
They still were started the year 1-3.
Yeah,
because that partially because of that bonkers Falcons game.
Yeah, was that week 1? I forget about that.
No, I think it was week 2 or 3.
Okay, yeah, the Cowboys Falcons game where they just decided, like, all right, where the Falcons were like, all right, I don't know whether to fall on this punt or not.
Yeah,
it's so bizarre. Yeah, just wild. And one last question for you before we move on. What do you think the Bucs are going to repeat?
No.
It's
possible. It's possible.
Sure. Like I don't think it's not possible, but there's a lot. Go ahead.
They're in the top 8 teams that I would like if I made a list ranking the team's probability, the Bucs would be in the top 8.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I mean, I think the big thing is that all their starters are returning. 22 of 22, which has never happened with the Super Bowl champion before. Like, the fact that they're returning everyone is very interesting to me. But I do think that they do have a good shot at repeating it as champions. I also think that there is this feeling of like, not to say that like I think that Bruce Arians is a good coach. I think Todd Bowles is a very good coach. And I think that defensive coordinator, and Byron Leftwich is a very good offensive coordinator. Like I not to say that the coaching staff won't get the team ready to try new things, but I just worry that if it's all the same personnel, will NFL teams kind of catch up with them? Because out of the gate they were not very good last year, and then they got better as the season went on. Will it be this kind of a similar hangover situation where they feel like they have everything in order, but NFL teams know what they're doing? Yeah, that's my big thing for them.
I will say Tom Brady would be a quarterback I would draft in fantasy this year, which I haven't said the past like 3 years.
Interesting.
Yeah. He's gonna throw the ball so much, Chris.
Well, yeah, and plus we don't know, we don't know what the circumstance around I feel like the running back situation is always just so bizarre.
It's always bizarre, but they figure it out.
They figure it out. Yeah,
it's not good. Not good for fantasy. I'm not drafting Buccaneers wide receiver or Buccaneers running backs.
Right.
But I would draft Brady.
Yeah. Fair enough. Who's the projected number 1 overall pick, by the way, for fantasy right now?
Christian McCaffrey.
Still, even after the injured year. Huh.
There's the level of excellence that CMC played last year when he actually did play was still unparalleled.
Yeah.
He runs so well and he catches so many passes that there's no other player that could fit that spot. And if barring injury, CMC will potentially give you any week that you play him and he doesn't get injured, he will give you 25 points.
There you go.
That's all not right. An understatement.
No, I don't doubt him. It's just like, to me, I'm like, coming off an injury, I didn't think he would be like number 1 overall. I think that there would be someone else in the mix there, but yeah, I trust that.
That's just how good he is.
Yeah, no, yeah, I can't really think of anyone else either. Yeah. I mean, like
behind him is Cook and Kamara.
Yeah, because I think of like Henry. I'm like, well, Henry also has like the offensive line you can't trust for the tight ends, and also the fact that he usually starts slow in regular season, and then he had like the winter picks up for him.
Right. Henry also doesn't catch passes.
Yeah.
He makes up for it. He makes up for it just from how much he runs.
Right.
But that's why he's like in the middle of the first round and not at the start of the first round.
Right. Yeah. There you go. All right.
You have a question for me.
I do have a question for you. I want to see if we can build something like just build something in our brains about this. Like, because I know why they don't do it. Why Nintendo doesn't do this, because it's like it would not sell well where they are. What would a Mario American football game look like?
That is a good question. My mind immediately goes to like Mario Strikers in terms of like team construction, where you would have like a leader of the team, and then like some minions or some like just generic like Goombas or Koopas or whatever as the other players on your team.
Yeah. Because like it could be like I always think about. My biggest familiarity with the Mario sports games is the baseball games.
Yeah.
Because those you can kind of like customize those rosters however you want. But I could see it where it could be like you have the captains, and to me, like the captains in those games would be like the quarterback or like the pitchers, I guess, were the ones that were like the main characters.
Yeah. And
so I think the main characters in this game would be quarterbacks. And then I could see it where you have what's the name of like the football Mario character?
Oh, fucking Charging Chucks.
Yeah, Charging Trucks. Well, I feel like those are your offensive line, like just locked in, because no one, like kids especially,
offensive line. Change the color for whoever's team you're on.
Right. Like to me, like though, like I don't think any like kid who would play this game would give a shit about the offensive line. So you kind of just leave that as is. But I see like the players, like I could see a quarterback, Mario, and then like you have like the smaller characters being your wide receivers or your running backs. Like you can put Monty Mole in the backfield for your running backs, and then you have like the Koopas on the sides, or like I think of going pulling from the baseball stuff. You have like the
paratroopers.
You could do the paratroopers or the Nokis and the Pianos from the Sunshine, or you could probably pull from characters from Super Mario Odyssey. Like I feel like that would be interesting if they had like took some of those enemies that were in those games as well, like the water guys, like the guys that shoot up in the air and shoot at you. Like that would be a fun wide receiver type thing. I also was thinking like the abilities as well for like the Mario would throw like a fire strike at like a wide receiver that would go really fast, and then you have like Luigi would be like the ice power, because that's, I think from what I saw of the Mario Golf game, that's pretty much what the difference between those two characters are. Can you think of other like special abilities that could be used by these characters in the football field setting?
They had some like special, all the characters in Mario and Sonic at the Olympics had like special abilities in like table tennis. So like one of them was like, oh, you'd hit the ball but 3 balls would come out and only one of them is real.
Oh yes, I feel like I do remember that in the baseball games for some reason. There was something along those lines that I think it was like one of the ghost people, like King Boo or Boo, had something along that lines. I like, or like Bowser. I feel like Bowser. Bowser would be a quarterback in that game, but I feel like it'd be more fun to see him be like a Lamar Jackson running the football type, just demolishing people as he's running and just knocking people to the side. That would be a lot of fun. I just thought about this question because I was I'm very excited for Mario Golf, and I saw the story mode that they have they gave press like a media preview of the game, and they have a seemingly deep adventure mode, and that is like RPG-esque, when you're trying to boost like your character stats, and I'm like, what would be like the statistics of the character that you're building? Like, because I feel like, well, it's hard to do it because it's you would have to figure out what position you're playing, but I feel like because Nintendo games tend to like simplify these things, I feel like they're gonna want to just give you like
speed, strength, accuracy.
Yeah, kind of that kind of thing, like or like defense. Like I feel like a defensive statistic would make sense for a character. I mean, they wouldn't have ball handling in the game. They otherwise we have to sue them, and we could probably topple Nintendo if we sued them for using ball handling.
Yeah,
in a heartbeat. All right, so that was the gist of it. I'm just like, I'm always. I knowing that this is like that American football is like the biggest sport in the US, I'm always curious if like a US based Nintendo studio, like I don't know, after like Retro does this huge Metroid game that has taken them years to do, like if Nintendo would be like, here's a short thing for like a US audience to enjoy. Like I could totally see I could see something like it in the future. Maybe they don't even maybe they do like a rugby type thing, I don't know, or just include it like in a sports mix type situation. But I don't know, we'll see. But it's on my mind. I'm very excited for that to swing them golf clubs again in the Mario world. All right, let's hit our VBBFL.
Love this.
Let's build our team. So here's where I got confused earlier about the off recording, because I usually try to set these things up in motion prior to before we record. The city that I randomly got was called Suffolk. Now, I was like, wait, I know of Suffolk County in New York, And I was like, I didn't know there was a town or city. And it took me a bit, but I found that there is a city of Suffolk in Virginia.
Okay.
So Virginia, Europe, the United States, not Europe. But you are now part of the VBBFL. We will now examine you to your core.
Did you know that Virginia was a commonwealth?
No, it did not. 4 of the 50 United States use the word commonwealth.
I believe Massachusetts is another one.
Yes, you're correct.
I know that. I knew that because of a line from Legally Blonde.
Pennsylvania and Kentucky are the other 2. Interesting.
It's like Louisiana and Alaska use the word borough instead of county.
Right. God, states are weird. Okay.
States are fucking weird.
they're just bizarre. Common, you go fancy schmancy with calling it Commonwealth. Give me a break, all right?
Yeah,
you're no better than us. All right. So Suffolk is located in the Hampton Roads.
This knocks out a lot of states.
I know. Virginia is you may not think it, but it's it's peak state performance here.
God damn it, Chris. Hey, Chris.
What?
Suffolk, Virginia is the birthplace of Mr. Peanut.
I think we know what we have to do here.
God damn it.
I think. Listen, guys. Listen, folks. All right. We expected a longer episode, or at least a longer looking into this. But I think we know what we have to do here. All right. I think we all understand. We've all come to terms with the reality of this. We were going to go deep into what Suffolk was, what it was all about. Apparently, there was a tornado in 2008. That's devastating. That sucks. But wait, what else you got here? You got some media outlets here. You got some sister cities here. Fucking James Avery, the actor who portrayed the father on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, was born here. You know, you got some interesting stuff, but you know what? At the end of the day, we know what we must do.
Birthplace of Mr. Goddamn Peanut, who I have blocked on Twitter.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We're... Well, alright, so how do we do it? How do we incorporate Mr. Peanut into a team name here without being struck down?
God.
I mean, so it says that they actually have a local radio station that's abbreviated WLPM, which stood for the world's largest peanut market. Yeah. I mean, my God, you're setting yourselves up here. I mean, you could just say the Suffolk Nuts and move on. Like, yeah, and just call it a day.
We do way too many ball handling jokes to also have a team be called the Nuts, though.
Isn't it perfect? Isn't it just fitting? Like,
if we name this team the Nuts and they're the worst team in ball handling.
I mean, I'm trying to think of like if we could go like we could do the Suffolk Walnuts to kind of like add like a little extra like, pop to it. So instead of just it be calling nuts, we could do hazelnuts. We have a wide variety of nuts to play with here.
Right.
All right. We're playing with a lot of
peanuts aren't nuts; they're legumes.
Peanuts, legumes.
I don't give a shit, but someone out there might. So I just wanted to say that.
Hey, it's fair. You got. We have to stay correct. We are a 100% factually correct podcast, and so we need to stay on that track. Okay, so I appreciate that. The Suffolk legumes.
I'm not naming this the legumes.
So it's the Suffolk walnuts, Suffolk peanuts, Suffolk hazelnuts.
Okay, we can definitely do something. So I think we need to focus all of our attention on Mr. Peanut.
Right. No. That's not a question. That's not a question.
But I think we can get this to a point that is more like we can get it somewhere beyond just, okay, it's the peanuts.
Sure, like we could do Suffolk baby nuts.
Yeah, no. you would hear me convulse every time we did an episode.
Okay, so then, all right, so we'll stick at the nuts department. So I'm sorry, Suffolk, but at the end of the day, you did this to yourselves.
You did this to yourself.
It is now time to go down the history of Mr. Peanut. It is now time to dive deep into this.
We don't care about Suffolk page anymore. It is all Mr. Peanut now.
Yeah, it's just all. He is reportedly of British heritage. Okay. It has the proper name of Bartholomew Richard Fitzgerald Smith. Why? Fucking why? Why is that his proper name? Why did someone invent that and then never use that?
I hate that they put down the species and then it's just the fucking scientific name for the peanut. Occupation: mascot, gentleman, hero.
Jesus Christ. Did you know that Bill Hader and Robert Downey Jr. voiced Mr. Peanut?
No.
Yeah, Downey Jr. from 2010 to 2013, and then Hader from 2013 to 2017. Keith Ferguson, I do not know who that is. Looks like he actually was in some video games.
Keith Ferguson, I recognize that name.
Yeah, or he was Blue. He was Blue from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's currently the voice of
Mr. Peanut.
Of Mr. Peanut, yes. So there you go.
I don't know. Like I felt my pulse go up.
In 2017, the Virginia General Assembly passed a joint resolution commending Mr. Peanut, with no more description after that, with no reasoning as to why Mr. Peanut is getting honored.
All right, in popular culture, in the 2010 novel Mr. Peanut by Adam Ross, a man fantasizes about killing his peanut allergic wife by force feeding her peanuts. What the hell is happening?
Now, I know that we've talked about this before, too, that the Super Bowl commercial in which Mr. Peanut passes away, that the actor of Matt Walsh, not related to our Matt Walsh, is in that commercial. So we also have that little factoid going on.
That is true.
The trio were shown hanging onto a branch after accidentally driving the Nutmobile. That's what I was looking for. So the Nutmobile.
The Nutmobile.
So
the Suffolk Nutmobiles.
We have the Suffolk Nutmobiles. Now, granted, though, we do have a vehicle already. I believe we actually have two vehicles, to be fair. So we don't want to go down the vehicle route.
War train and submarines, yeah.
Yeah, the fucking war train. That's another thing. This is the best one yet. We don't even have a name. We just
so we can also go to the gentleman aspect of him.
Yes, he's dapper.
Yeah, he is very dapper. He is a fancy pants, a Suffolk fancy pants.
fancy nuts.
Fancy nuts.
Yeah,
like what is the most like how could we rip off Mr. Peanut?
I mean,
this team is going to be an off-brand Mr. Peanut.
It's like the Sir Pistachio is what
Sir Pistachio.
It's what we'll fucking call it. He's famous for his monocle as well. So I mean, there you go, Suffolk monocles. You know, you got that's that sort of thing going on. I started reading the history. I got confused. That I said in 1916, a young schoolboy, Antonio Gentile, submitted drawings of an anthropomorphic peanut to a design contest. For a second, I only read the first half of that sentence. I was like, is the origins of Mr. Peanut, that he was a young schoolboy by the name of Antonio Gentile? Because that's fucking wild that his name just keeps changing. And so then the commercial artist Andrew S. Wallach added the monocle top hat and cane to create the iconic image. while Gentle's family originally received $5 for winning the contest. Jesus Christ, that's such a you got ripped off there.
Yeah.
Obiki, which I guess is the founder of the company, befriended them and paid Antonio's and 4 of his siblings way through college. Oh, that's nice. After Obiki paid Antonio's way through medical school, he became a doctor in Newport News, where he died of a heart attack in 1939. Well, that's fucking depressing. I'm trying to just see. Oh, there is a disputed claim. Oh shit, here we go. There is a disputed claim that Frank P. Kreis Sr., a Wilkes Barre artist and head of the Suffolk plant, made the additions of the monocle, top hat, and cane, and Andrew Wallach's daughter, Virginia, funny, maintains that Chris joined the project after Mr. Peanut was created, and neither Planter's history nor other sources still in circulation positively identified the artist.
So we got some espionage going on.
Yeah, so Peanut. No, I can't do it. I tried. I failed.
Espionage.
Yeah, that's what I was trying.
Yeah.
I was trying, and it didn't come out. You gotta leave it to the curve now. All
right, wow. So like I'm fine going like the gentlemanly route.
Okay, so but when you say that, what do you have in mind specifically on that front?
I'm not super certain yet. I'm trying to find like synonyms. I first I searched funny names for British people, but that didn't really turn up anything good.
Okay, and then so I'm trying to think of like
the high names for the high society.
Right. Like I'm trying to think of a pun that we can think of. Like yeah. Remember when we were doing fantasy based names? That was a good time. I want to think of a pun where we have it where we combine a name of a nut of some kind. We combine it with a name that is meant for a royal or for a gentlemanly situation, for a more regal or formal, circumstance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm thinking a football team, but they're dressed up as if they're going to the Kentucky Derby, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Yeah, like that's kind of the vibes I'm trying to get.
I mean, this dude fucking wears spats. He is high and mighty.
Spats. Oh my god.
I had to wear spats in marching band.
Oh, how was that?
That was fine. I didn't know how to wear them for like picture day. So there's pictures of me on picture day with them like all fucked up.
Oh.
Okay, so there's things like noblemen or lords. The nut lords.
Oh my god. Or the Suffolk noble nuts.
Noble nuts.
Oh my god.
We need to get it from here. Chaps. Fellows. The nut fellows.
Nut fellows. The fellow nuts.
The Suffolk nut fellows.
Suffolk nut fellows. I do like that.
I don't hate it.
You're good. You're allowed that one in.
Nut fellows or nut fellas?
Fellows.
Fellows.
I feel like fellas is kind of like gendering a little bit. Like yeah. I want to fellows. I feel like is non-gender conforming a bit.
Fellows is still pretty male.
Oh,
but not always.
I'm okay either way. Then I mean I think nut fellows is good.
I can't fucking believe we landed on this. That we got Mr. Goddamn Peanut. Who is going to draft this team? I need to meet that person. We will meet them because they're going to be one of our friends. But I am going to fucking lose it. All right. So we can't do Mr. Peanut colors because the Wauwatosa Fireflies already have those. with black and yellow. What's a color that we haven't done much of yet? We haven't really done blue. We've done aquamarine, but we haven't done blue, so we could make this a blue team of some kind.
And we have played with yellow like twice now, so we maybe we don't want to touch yellow.
Right.
Blue. By the way, how are you spelling Nutfellows? Are you doing
NUTFELLOWS?
But is it like, are we putting a space in between? It's just one word and lowercase for every.
Yeah, except for the N at the start.
Right. Okay. All right. Yep. Just want to make sure here.
This totally legitimate word that we just made up.
Jesus, goddamn Christ!
We need to tell Walsh and Gabe about this immediately after recording.
oh yeah, no, yeah, we're not gonna leave them out of this. Because of how absolutely bizarre this has become, I'm now cycling through different locations because I'm not sticking with the one that we currently had.
Okay.
Although I might return to it if nothing good comes up of this. A nut team deserves a perfect video game to be associated with it. No, okay, so I'm sorry. I'll try to think of a color. So blue, I feel like we could do more of a regular blue for this one, but I'm trying to think of
a royal blue.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of what other colors have we not combined.
We haven't explored we've got red orange. We don't really necessarily have a this could be our blue and red team if we wanted it to be.
Right.
So we got orange, we got purple, we got green.
Have we done blue red before?
We have not done blue red before.
Okay. Yeah, I mean we could.
Does that fit the energy of Nutfellows though?
What's your opinion if we did blue and tan?
Blue and tan? I was actually just going to ask you about blue or brown.
Which do you prefer, brown or tan?
Okay, I searched blue and tan, and it gave me pictures of a bulldog. So if you want to see some cute bulldogs, search blue and tan. That's apparently a dog breed.
All right, sure.
I would be down with figuring out a blue and tan together, blue brown, because that gives the nut aspect, and blue can kind of be a more regal color, especially if we do a more maybe a darker one, not necessarily.
Well, remember those planters containers tend to be blue, so
they are. And
then you got the color of a nut, which tends to be the tan or brown.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm totally down for this. So blue and tan.
Yep. And then the location. I've landed on the location that I like.
Let's hear it.
Well, I mean, let's just. This was gonna happen eventually, anyway. Let's do the Legend of Zelda.
Oh boy.
Location.
That's amazing.
and I specifically got Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, we can do that. There's Breath of the Wild is big. There's a lot of different places that they can
I also want to open up. We could change it up. We could absolutely do the
Wind Waker.
We could have. There's a Wind Waker possibilities there. We also have, the setting of Majora's Mask, where
Termina.
The town being with the moon coming down the town with his angry face, type thing. So there you go. Goddamn.
Goddamn, Mr. Goddamn fucking Peanut.
That just that made it. That absolutely just.
It absolutely did. There was no I begrudgingly knew that there was no other thing that we could name this team after once I saw that.
You just have to take it in, relax, take the L, and just move on. All right. Well, that was a nice hour-long episode. How's that?
Yeah.
We did good. We filled the time up well. Good part of it was us just laughing at the fucking idea of Mr. Peanut. Wow. So, just to recap what we have thus far, it's the Ketchikan Cosmos, the Naples Astrogators, the Portsmouth Submarines, the Brookings War Train, the Wauwatosa Fireflies, the Suffolk Nutfellows is the is our last team, and now we have 2 more fucking teams.
Yeah.
So
we sure do.
Now, my question, because in terms of the map, and where we are at, are we targeting more Western teams next time?
Yeah, I think we could.
Are we specifically trying to target them right now? Because at this point, I mean, Wisconsin could be a West team, the Wisconsin team, which I think is Wauwatosa.
Yeah.
We could,
but it could also be East.
Right. It's in that Midwestern area where it could be East. So, so we could try to target a Western team at some point, at least. And then
I don't think we're like closed off anywhere yet, because if we get something that's like in Pennsylvania, then that will obviously be the East team, and then our last team will be West. But we could also get 2 more West teams, like Washington and Utah, and then Wisconsin goes into the East.
Right, yeah. So we have options to play with. I do want a Hawaii team. I think that I feel like that those are the 2 states that are left out of the United States here.
So we get both Alaska and Hawaii.
So both of the teams there, both of the states that are detached from the United States. It'd be fun to like get teams spotlighting them. Yeah, Jesus Christ, what a fucking offseason this has been. All right, so next time you see us, my hope is that we get our good friends Walsh and Gabe on, because we are going to definitively rank the NFL teams. We're gonna fucking praise people for their creativity, and we're gonna push to the ground anyone that does not deserve the title of greatest NFL team. We'll destroy their hopes and dreams. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So the best team names will decide as a group, as a core 4. But until that point, thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Good night and good ball. Virtual Ball Boys has been brought to you by Team Chaos Productions. Find us on Twitter at Virtual Ball Boys, and find more of our work at Team Chaos Pods.